Evening. Welcome to the Weisburn Unified School District Board meeting. This is a special board meeting to consider one action item. First of all, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
You have a motion to approve?
However, we all did it, so whoever you want to call on is fine.
Wendy, did you get that?
Yes.
Okay. So any questions, or should we go ahead and do the roll call?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Mr. Banuelos?
Aye.
Dr. Goldman?
Aye.
Ms. Caneda?
Aye.
Mr. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Mora?
Aye.
Thank you.
And to our community, my apologies that my camera is not working today. Let's see, Pledge of Allegiance. Do we have a volunteer?
I'm happy to volunteer.
All right. Dr. Harbeck, go ahead.
Please stand and put your hand on your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
All right, moving on, public hearing, 2020-21 LCAP. Blake, did you have any comments?
I'm actually going to defer to Eileen to share the LCP and the process and public hearing.
So we'll just take thank you, Dr. Silvers. So we'll just take a few minutes. Wendy, if you want to put up the slides. We just have a couple of slides to go through.
Hold on, Mr. Mora, are we opening the LCP or are we?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead and open it while they explain it, sure.
Okay, got it.
533, Wendy.
Got it.
Okay, Dr. Harbeck, go ahead.
All right, so we can go to the second slide. So the LCP, or the Learning Continuity Plan, is it defines a reopening plan for this school year. The LCP is a document we use to communicate our decisions that have been made thus far in guiding how we instruct students and how we move forward through the 2021 school year. Tonight, we did not receive the template until August 1st, the final template. And in the meantime, we did use most of the summer, and we'll talk about that in just a minute, for planning for this document and for the reopening of school. This document, this plan, is due on September 30th. And I just want to take a minute to point out that the LCAP, which is our Local Control Accountability Plan, is a very different report. Whereas the LCP looks at how we're taking on this year. It does not involve goals. It does not involve metrics. It really is just a report on how we began the school year and how we plan to proceed forward in attending to our students and our families. The LCAP, which is very different, is not due until June 2021. And it's the plan for the 21-22 school year. It involves goals and metrics, and it really encompasses everything we do with our budget. There is no LCAP due this year. This is new. They have waived that. And some of this is based on the fact that there also wasn't testing last year, which we often use as part of our metrics. So we will have something due in December. It's called the Budget Overview for Parents. It's commonly known as the BOP. And that will be coming to the board through Dave's office, our CBO, our business office, and it speaks to, of course, our overview for the budget. So just to go back over our reporting timeline and engagement, we did have a COVID-19 report. You might remember it was adopted or approved by our board back in June. That was our rear view mirror looking in the back. How did we do to finish the year during that time of crisis from March on? And then we spent the summer in June and August working with the Weisburn Reopening Advisory Partnership. We garnered all kinds of information there about systems for opening schools, schedules, and then we also held meetings with our guiding coalitions to look at distance learning curriculum and make those decisions. And these were backed also by August meetings with the principal and their own staff. We had several board presentations throughout the summer on reopening school and how we would proceed with distance learning. We had special education caregiver meetings that Dr. Dougal held in August, 3 different meetings on that day. We did have an LCP meeting with the LCAP committee, the original LCAP committee, and also our district English language acquisition committee was invited to that as well. And that was on August 31st to look at this plan, specifically our LCP. Our next steps, of course, tonight is the public hearing. If we receive any comments, we'll be able to add those and take those into account in define and finalizing our LCP. We will hopefully adopt the LCP on the 24th. And we also have submitted this to the county for review and approval. All this needs to be approved at our next board meeting so we can submit by 9:30. We also have to, we are required to post it on our website within 5 days of the board meeting where it's approved. And just our last slide very quickly. Here are the 8 areas that are addressed in the LCP. It is up on our website right now in draft form to be reviewed. Stakeholder engagement, which I just reviewed with you. Our continuity of learning, how are we instructing our in-person instruction offerings with our students, our live instruction online. And then distance learning, how we're addressing each component of distance learning, including how we support pupils with unique needs, our ELD students and our students with special needs. We have to look at pupil learning loss, how we're identifying and addressing it, our mental health and emotional well-being, how we engage and reach out to our students, and even our school nutrition. So really everything is addressed in this LCP for our year, and we feel it's in good form right now to go forward. So with that, I'm going to close this presentation and just share with you that we look forward to any comments that we might receive from either the board or our stakeholders regarding the LCP. It's about 17 to 18 pages long.
Thank you, Dr. Harbeck, very much. Wendy, have we had any comments on the public hearing?
Let me check, please. I have no comments.
Okay, are we ready to close the public hearing?
Yes.
All right, close at 5:38, please. And then we'll move on from the public.
I have a request. Dr. Harbeck, could you send us the charts you just showed us?
I will.
Thank you, because those are really very helpful in terms of answering questions in the public in terms of timing and how decision making happened and, you know, sort of the steps that led to where we are. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, back, Wendy, from the public.
Yes, I do have one comment this evening, one public comment from Kimberly Shire Shiro. She requests, consider Wanda Austin, first female president of Aerospace Corporation and USC. She could help promote young girls' interest in science and technology STEM. I believe this is a comment towards the renaming of 138th Street School.
Okay.
And that's it.
Yeah, all right. Dr. Silvers, would you mind updating everyone, the board and the community on when we would anticipate that committee to fire off for the renaming?
Sure, can you,
You're muted.
Well, should I continue without him?
Oh.
We can have him update us later. I'd like to move on to 3.1, which is adopt resolution 20/21.04, resolution regarding layoff of playground supervisors and EDP classified personnel. Do we have a motion?
I'll go ahead and move to approve with
Thank
some
you, Roger.
discussion.
Second?
You have a second?
Thank you, Nelson. Any questions?
I would like Blake to give us an overview, Dr. Silvers.
Yep. Sorry, I think I lost myself in that last segment. I can give an update, Mr. Mora, too, on that. But yes, for this is you know, an unfortunate part of COVID, obviously, and when there's a lack of work or lack of funds, you know, we need to engage in a layoff process for classified employees that involves a 60-day window. So the board would consider this resolution today, and then we would notice employees starting tomorrow for a 60-day window where employees remain employed for 60 days, and at the conclusion of that 60 days would be considered laid off should we not be in a position where we could bring them back. We would enter negotiations with CSEA, with our classified bargaining unit, to determine the impact of the layoffs and also to work on requirements and or logistics to bringing staff back based on seniority and so forth as we slowly start bringing our students back in cohorts or bringing students back to school. So as part of the unfortunate, circumstances we find ourselves in right now. And I know our principals reached out to all the employees and had conversations with them to let them know kind of the circumstances around this. And here we are.
And Dr. Silvers, the bulk of these positions are for playground supervisors, which with our schools closed, there is no activity happening at the school sites. Thus the notice for these individuals.
Yes, I'm sorry for not being more specific. It is specifically to two areas. One is playground supervisors who would supervise students on the playground during recess and lunch, primarily lunchtime. And then also it's our extended day program at Dana Middle School, which was the after school care program for Dana Middle School. And so both of these are positions that we're not utilizing. Well, the hours, the lack of work is the issue we're facing right now. There's no work for these folks to do at this point.
Okay, and that's also based on the CDC guidelines in terms of what offerings we can and cannot have at this point in time. Thus the need for the notice.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions before we call the question? No? Okay, Wendy, would you like to call the question?
I think Joanne had something, but
I'm
she's on.
sorry. I was just going to say this is not something we look forward to doing. It is a requirement in the sense of being fiscally responsible and also abiding by the COVID guidance that we receive from the county. So, we do this with the knowledge or the hope that everything will start to return back to what we knew as normal in the past, perhaps in the second part of this school year.
Thank you, Joanne. Any other comments? Okay, Wendy, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Banuelos,
Aye.
Dr. Goldman,
Aye.
Ms. Caneda,
Aye.
Mr. Martinez,
Aye.
Mr. Mora.
Aye. All right, that's it on the agenda. Blake, did you want to answer the previous question?
Yeah, so regarding the naming, I know we discussed briefly at the last board meeting that we're looking at, it's a little slower than we would have hoped to do the renaming process, just because of the nature of bringing students back to school, virtually bringing students back to school, and putting most of our effort on training staff, selecting curriculum, making sure that was there and that we had the appropriate professional development, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of logistics for that. Looking to start probably around mid-October with a student group. I want to have conversations with the board around the values that surround what the name might be for our community. Then have the student groups. So I was saying roughly at the last board meeting that we would try and have this wrapped up by end of school year. End of calendar year, not end of school year. By end of calendar year, so December, as a shot to give us a little bit of a runway or a runway, if you will, to be able to get together and do it the right way. We just want to be thoughtful and make sure it's the right name and the community has a voice.
All right, thank you very much.
Sure.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll motion.
Thank you. Thank you, Nelson. All right, everyone have a good night. Thank you very much.
Wait, I think we have a closed session, right?
We do, I was saying that for the public.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.